Hello folks, this is Solo speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is actually not my gameplay footage. This is a video that was sent to me by Rienzo here. He is doing a solo queue game here. In this game we're going to be looking at a Battle Academia team composition, and specifically one that plays through Jayce and Caitlyn. This is a team composition that was around a little bit earlier on. It was actually really strong in a single patch, and then it got immediately nerfed into the ground. That's kind of the way that the balance cycle has been working here in set 15. Something will be strong for like one patch, and then it immediately gets nerfed, and then something else is strong for one patch, and then it immediately gets nerfed. But anyway, there hasn't been a lot of consistency here in the set. And yeah, as I was saying though, this is something that's been playable, and it's something that has kind of showed its popularity, as I said, for like one patch, and then it kind of disappeared out of the meta, and then like now we've cycled through another 2 or 3 patches, and like now it's back to being not good necessarily. It's not one of the strongest comps, but it is playable and it is viable. So Rienzo named this the Prismatic Schoolkids, and that's such a great title that I'm just going to use that one as well. All right, so Rienzo, I think, had been saying that he'd been forcing Battle Academia a little bit. It looks like he was planning on going into maybe a Kale build here based on the champs that he's been grabbing in his store. He's pretty much just picking up random stuff so far. There's not any real particular direction that he's taken in his gameplay so far. I suspect he's looking for whatever he's going to get out of the first augment and then try to make a decision from there. I will mention that the encounter in this game is the one that gives you just additional loot all the time. At the beginning of every stage, everyone gets extra loot. So this is definitely going to be a high income game, high econ game. So expect silliness ahead. Out of the augments, there's one that pops up immediately, solo leveling. For the next 5 combats, your team size is 1, but the champion you field has massively increased stats. Gain 1 XP for every kill they get. Afterwards, gain 2 components. This has been seen as a really broken augment for a while now. Again, we don't have augment stats, but this one has been quite strong for quite a long time. Okay, so let's unpack specifically what solo leveling does, because I don't think I've had it in any of my videos. I don't think I've gotten this in the games I've been playing. I think I had it offered one time and I didn't have a good setup for it. But yeah, it's been very popular because it's just, if we had augment stats, I am very confident that this would be an overtuned augment. Anyway, so as I said, this is an augment where you only get to play one unit. That one unit has very, very increased stats. And basically, you get additional experience for every single unit that they kill. Rienzo has gone ahead and slammed a Sterix on Garen here. He's choosing to play Garen. Usually you want some kind of a brawler champ. You don't normally want to run like a backline champion as your only champ because they're just not tanky enough. They just die too quickly in the fights. But like someone who's like a tanky bruiser tends to work really, really well. If you can get this on like a Darius drop from an initial minion round, it's just absolutely stupid. And the big thing is the units just get lots and lots of healing, like lots and lots of additional healing. They get higher stat, they have higher attack damage, they have higher armor and magic resistance, they get healing constantly as they auto-attack in the fights. It just makes the unit very, very difficult to kill. But it does a couple of things on your board. Because the unit is so strong, you can be reasonably, like, you're not going to bleed out like 20, 25 health on stage 2. Even though you're only playing the one unit, your board's going to be reasonably strong. Rienzo actually just has a 1-star Garen here. Like, imagine if he had a 2-star Garen, how much stronger he'd be here. But even the 1-star Garen is pretty competitive against a lot of these boards. Like, he killed every single unit on the last board that he was up against. And so, like, you don't have to invest a lot of money in your board. Like, Rienzo was very easily able to get up to the 10 gold income breakpoint. He's actually pretty close to the 20 income breakpoint. If he sold his whole bench, let's see, he would get 19 gold if he sold his whole bench. So he can't quite get up to the next income breakpoint. But like this other board he was up against had double 2-star frontliners, including a 2-star Shen. I mean, that person took Stars as Born, which gives you a 2-star 1 cost and a 2-star 2 cost right there. So like that's a very strong board. And he still killed one unit and got close to killing another unit. So it gives you a lot of board strength at like absolutely dirt cheap cost. So like Rienzo will easily be able to hit the 20 gold income breakpoint on this round. So anyway, it gives you a pretty strong board at a dirt cheap cost all through this stage. On top of that, your unit you get XP for every single unit that you kill. So like granted, if you kill nothing in these fights, it's not great, but Rienzo killed, I think, 3 units in the first fight and then another unit in the second fight, so he's already gotten 4 XP out of this. Again, early game is when these benefits are most valuable. And like, here's a board of all 1-stars. This is something that this augment absolutely feasts on when you just get to attack a board that's like full of 1-cost, 1-star champions. So, all right, there goes down the training dummy. That's 1 kill for Garen. That's 1 XP. If you watch the XP bar down in the corner, you'll see it going up as Garen kills units. All right, there's another one. 2 XP. Now he's working on the Zac there. Again, there just is not enough damage in the early game to overcome the healing that Garen is getting. And the Sterix was a really good slam to put on the Garen here in the early game. So it's like, all right, Garen is still killing things. Now we're in overtime. He's still going to kill the Kennen, and now he's going to walk up and kill the Kog'Maw as well. And boom, that's another kill. He killed all 5 units on the board. Well, technically 4 units and a training dummy. But that was still 5 XP right there from a round this early. That's pretty nutty here. In fact, it's actually kind of bad that there's a spatula on this carousel. You would think that if you're only playing 1 unit on the board, you'd just be lost streaking and like you'd get carousel priority. But no, Rienzo's actually too strong. He actually killed too many units on the carousel there. So he actually has 3rd pick here, even though he's only playing the 1 unit. But like, he's already gotten, what, 9 XP just from this. This augment, that again, as I said, is absolutely dirt cheap, gives you board strength. It's just really, really strong. Oh, and on top of that, after 5 rounds at the end of this, you get 2 item components as well. I mean, what? Like, this thing is not balanced, like, at all. It is not even remotely balanced. So I don't know why this is so good. Rienzo was able to grab a, Jayce off of that carousel, too, who's a unit he's looking to play. Otherwise, he would hit the 30 income breakpoint right here. He can't quite reach that because he needs to hold these Battle Academia units. He could get there if he sold the Jayce, but obviously he doesn't want to sell the Jayce, so it's not worthwhile to try to hit 30. But like, otherwise, he could easily be at 30 gold right here. And he's level 5. He's not level 4. He's level 5 already. And he could easily be 30 gold right here. Plus, as I said, he's going to get the 2 item components as well. So this is just a really, really dumb augment. I don't know why this one is so strong. If you have any kind of strong frontliner, then this is just like an insta-take. If you have any kind of tank items, it can play any kind of frontliner. Because it just takes you all the way through stage 2. And does so many good things for your board. Like, once again, Garen is killing this entire board over here that's got the, what is this, like a strategist board? Now he's going to kill the training dummy, and then is he going to kill the Ziggs as well? Yep, down it goes, and down goes the Janna. That's 5 more XP. So I think he's up to 14 XP that he's gotten from this already. I mean, it's just completely insane how much value this thing's delivering for a gold augment. So anyway, I don't mean to keep going on and on and on about the standalone augment, but there's not a whole lot else to talk about. There's only 1 unit on Rienzo's board so far, and it's still a 1. I mean, he only found 1 Garen the entire game. Like I said, imagine if he had a 2-star Garen here, or if he had like some kind of brute. Like, imagine if he had gotten a Jayce out of the minion round, and he had these items on a Jayce instead of a Garen. I actually kind of thought that it might have been better to take a different power-up on Garen as well. There was the one where Garen gets permanently stacking health, which probably would have been really good for this particular power-up. I can't remember if he loses that if you take the power-up off. And Garen will lose this power-up later on, so I don't know. The standalone is certainly not bad. It gives him extra health, which means that he gets more value off of that Sterix shield. This fight doesn't look like it's going to go quite as well, and the big reason why is it's a 2-star Callista with a Striker's... Was it Striker's Flail? Callista basically has enough damage to cut through the Garen's healing. Otherwise, most of these other fights you saw, the Garen, like the other boards just didn't have enough damage to get through Garen's healing, so he just slowly killed everything on the board. And then, there we go. So now solo leveling's over, but like, look at the position Rienzo's in. He gets 2 more components here on top of the ones he's already made. He's level 5, 40 gold, and he's 90 health. Like, he lost 10 health, and he's level 5, 40 gold at the start of the minion round. Again, if you've played a lot of TFT, you know that this is just an insanely strong position to be in. Yeah, it's really hard to have both high health and high econ and get additional components at the same time. And like, again, he was playing a 1-star Garen. Like, come on, this is just really, really dumb. All right, and in any case, he was also able to go up to the 5 Battle Academia. Although I don't think he should have sold the Rels there. I think he should have held on to the Rels, because Rel could have given him Bastion trait for his board. And he's going to need to put another unit in, so I think it was wrong to sell the Rel pair there. Unless because like, there's no other unit to go on this board right now. Oh, and then another Rel pops up in his shop. You could have had Rel 2-star right there. Oh, well. Small issue that maybe could have been done better. In any case, Rienzo is going to try to make items for Caitlyn, who he has not found yet, but he's going to try to make items for Caitlyn and items for the Jayce that he was able to take off Carousel. Now he will pop some of these items off of the Garen, also move his power up, which I would assume would go, no, not, is he going to put it on the Ezreal? Okay, going to put it on the Ezreal, probably because Ezreal's a little bit safer. And he's going to take, okay, Star Student. But the melee items will go on the Jayce, it looks like, for right now. Gargoyles, I would assume, will go on the Garen. Oh, or is he going to put it on Rakan? I guess we'll find out. All right, it does go on the Garen. I don't think he wins this fight because Swain 2-star is pretty strong at this stage of the game. But it is noteworthy that everybody did get a lucky chest, by the way. Rienzo got one, which will give him an item on whatever unit he puts it on. And everybody else got one of those as well. So everybody will have the lucky item chest to use. Again, high econ lobby due to that initial encounter. Second augment is gold. There's some decent choices there. Sated Spellweaver is not bad for his board because it would be good on Jayce. Raining gold, just more econ, although I think in a high loot lobby like this one, there's less of a need for that one. He ends up taking the Lotus, which means that everybody's abilities will be able to crit. I think that's maybe not quite the best choice because he already had made an Infinity Edge here. It's not a bad choice because you do get extra crit chance with the augment. And the additional mana is certainly not going to hurt either. When units crit with this, they get some mana generation. It's also going to be very nice on the Jayce because Jayce doesn't really have room for like an Infinity Edge on there. So definitely not a bad choice. And it might very well have been the best choice out of the options available. Now Rienzo has gone to level 6. He's put a Syndra on the board for Prodigy trait. Again, probably would have been better to hold the Rel so he could play a 2-star Rel here instead of a 1-star Syndra. Also, might not be a bad idea to use this lucky item chest, but I think he's saving it until he can actually find a Caitlyn. The unit you put it on will get an item that's tailored to them, and putting it on Ezreal might end up giving something that's not particularly useful for the setup Rienzo's got there. Anyway, his board is like okay, it's not great for the moment. He does have 6 1-star units, 5 1-star units and a 2-star Ezreal, but his board is almost entirely 1-star units, so you're probably not going to be win streaking on stage 3. If your board is still all 1-star units. Again, I suppose that is one of the downsides to... Oh, no, I was going to say that's a downside to solo leveling, but no, the shop does not turn off with solo leveling. You still have full access to the shop, you just can't put units on the board. And there's a Garen pair, so hopefully he'll be able to get one more Garen, but for the most part, he needs to get to level 7. Again, the goal with this board is you try to roll for 3-star Jayce and 3-star Caitlyn, the 2/3 costs in a Battle Academia team composition. And then you play through 3-star Jayce and 3-star Kate. They're your main carries. And then you add in Yuumi as like another damage dealer as the game goes on, because you can stuff any leftover AP items on Yuumi. Your frontline tank items can go on Leona, and then your AD items are going on Caitlyn and Jayce, and then any AP items you get can go on Yuumi. Oftentimes, one of the problems with this team composition is you don't have enough items to itemize everybody, because you need AD items for Caitlyn, but you also need AD items for Jayce as well. Jayce wants like the melee frontline ones. Caitlyn wants the backline ones. And then if you get any AP items, they're going on Yuumi. But like, if you get a run of a bunch of AP items, then this could be a little bit of a tricky comp, because you end up with just not enough items to itemize both of your carries, both the Jayce and the Caitlyn. So the fact, again, that this is a high loot lobby kind of reinforces the fact that Rienzo's actually going to have enough items to go around on his board. Now it's time for the second carousel here. There is another Jayce on this carousel, so that might be worthwhile to pick up. Rienzo's second pick here, and he also, of course, could try to take... He could probably take just about anything here, really, out of the different options available. Let's see what he ends up going for. He's going to take the Poppy here. Okay. The Poppy is, of course, another heavyweight unit that can be paired together with the Jayce. Poppy is not a unit you're going to play long-term on this board, but heavyweight trait will make Jayce tankier and give him a little bit of extra damage. So Poppy, not a bad unit to play on this board. Definitely better than the Syndra. There's not any real question that you want this Poppy over the Syndra. And the tier, I guess tier can be put on Kate. She does not mind having a blue buff or a Spear of Shojin so that she casts a little bit more often. Could also go on Yuumi as well, but Yuumi is not the featured unit in this team composition. So that seems like a solid pick. Definitely made the board a little bit stronger to get another 4 cost on there, especially considering that this team is still like all 1-star units with the exception of the poor Ezreal back there. By the way, I probably should have held on to that Syndra, because the Syndra might be the next unit on the board for the Prodigy trait back again. Not that Prodigy trait's doing a lot for this board, but there's not a lot else to play on this board right now. I'm also being thrown off because the solo leveling has put Rienzo on like a really awkward timing in terms of his leveling. Like he's on 35 out of 36. And for someone who's played a lot of TFT, when you see like an odd number on the leveling bar, it's just like so weird and disorienting to see that. I don't think he's enough to overcome a cog with a Rage Blade. Like he just doesn't have enough damage to deal with a comp like that. But fortunately, Rienzo is now finally going to be level 7, and now he can look to start rolling for the stuff he wants to put on his board. Looks like he's going to play the Kabuko, and then he really needs another unit to put on the board. But he can start rolling now because now that he's level 7, he has better odds to see these units. All right, Kate pops up on the board. Play her over Poppy, and Kate can now start to take some of these items that have been sitting on the edge reel. And you also notice this. You might notice this really, really weird positioning that Rienzo is doing. Like, you might be like, what in the world is going on here? This is the positioning that everyone uses with this board. It's one reason why this board like sticks out and is so unusual. He is going to take, I believe he takes Efficient, which is a nice choice here just so Kate can get her casts off more often. And he's going to put this second power up on Jayce and give him the Unflinching, which means that he has Omnivamp and immunity to crowd control. And then it looks like he's going to take the Deathblade there. All right, so that was able to get Rienzo up to 6 Battle Academia. And he's got the Kate and the Jayce. Again, to my point before, why do you position like this? Well, it deals with how Caitlyn uses her ability. Caitlyn's ability fires a shot at the furthest target away. By the way, if her ult is bouncing around when the round ends and it hits the corner of the board, you get a gold coin. That's why that popped up there. Kate will always target the enemy that is furthest away on the screen. And what people basically realized is that if you position in like this really funky way, the enemy units will like all the enemy units will like run to the sides, and it will open up a path to hit the carries in the back lines. So the reason why you position like this is it opens up the middle of the board and it clears room for Kate's ult to hit. With the normal default positioning, Kate will just waste her shot hitting tanks on the enemy team. But when you do this, it makes it really, really hard to avoid getting your carries sniped in like normal fights because Kate has a free shot to the back lines. And her bullet will bounce a set number of times based on how much potential you have. Now, you might think with this setup, it would probably be better to run like 5 Battle Academia with like some extra synergies here. But no, that is actually not the case. And this goes back to why Battle Academia is not a very well-designed trait in this set. It's actually better for Rienzo to run 7 Battle Academia here. Now, he has to find a Yuumi to make that happen. He had pretty good luck at finding an early Leona. But if he can find the Yuumi, he definitely wants to play 7 Battle Academia over any other trait in the pool. Again, it might seem like you wouldn't want to do that, and he did, in fact, find the Yuumi, so that's really nice. But the way that the trait is designed is, this trait is like, has to be played as a vertical. Like, it basically has to be played vertically. That's because Battle Academia units work off of something called potential. If you've played this set, you probably know this already, but all of their abilities get more effects based on how much potential you have. And the only way to get potential is to play more Battle Academia units. So you really need to get to the 7 Battle Academia, and that just means there's no space for any other units. It actually is better to play all 7 of them than it is to play any other unit that like gives you a synergistic trait. One of the reasons why this trait is not designed well. Now we have our final augment, and it's a Prismatic. In addition to this already being a high loot, high econ lobby, it's a Prismatic. So Rienzo has to pick what he wants here between Unlimited, Blazing Soul, Unlimited Power, Wand Overflow. And I believe that since he already has the Kate and the Jayce fully itemized, he's going to take items for Yuumi here. And he ends up getting just like a ridiculous number of rods due to Wand Overflow. So, all right, the, what's it called? Wow, Kabuko comes off. He's going to forge double death caps, and then he reforges them. I was like, whoa. And it actually works out. He gets red buff and Morello's, and then he's going to make another death cap. So, like, that worked out, but I don't know if I would have been willing to reforge that. The odds for something horrible to happen with that reforger were pretty high there to have, like, some completely useless set of items. I mean, like, what if he had gotten, I don't know, like, another Sterix and like a Deathblade? Like, how would he have ever used those items? So he reforged it. It worked out really well, but like that's more RNG than I would want to take on personally. Still, it worked out. Fortune favors the bold in this case, and he gets 2 highly useful items for Yumi along with the Morels. I think I might have just taken the other augment option he had there that just gave a Death Cap and Morellos. There was another Prismatic that just gave the items that he pretty much already was going to make and didn't involve the crazy RNG of reforging them. But hey, it ended up working out. So, as I said, sometimes it's better to be lucky than to be good. For the moment, though, Rienzo's just re-rolling on level 7. He had good luck at hitting the Jayce 2-star, the Caitlyn 2-star. One big advantage working in his favor is Caitlyn is completely uncontested in this lobby, and there's actually a lot of 3 costs coming out of the pool. He is contested on the Jayce. There is someone else who's playing Jayce. Because they're playing a Darius heavyweight comp. They're re-rolling for Darius 3-star and Jayce 3-star, so the Jayce is going to be harder to hit. But he's completely uncontested on the Caitlyn, and I don't believe that Yumi is contested by anyone either, so he has good luck to hit that, along with the Leona. Like, this Cog board, this is a board that probably is stronger than what he has, but, like, Kate just snipes the Cog, and as soon as that happens, he just wins easily. Again, all the tanks that are supposed to protect Cogmel, they walk out of the way because of this funky positioning that you do with this board, and then Kate just instantly snipes the Cog. One shot takes him down to like a 3rd health, 2nd shot finishes him off. It's one of the reasons why this board is super annoying to play against, because your carries are always getting sniped. The only way that you can defend against this is you have to put your carries in the middle of the board. If they're in the middle of the board and you have like dummy units on the corners, then you can be reasonably safe. But if you just use like standard positioning, you're gonna lose against this board. Rienzo's doing a good job of scouting and putting his Kate on the opposite side of whoever he wants to focus. Like, he made sure his Kate was on the opposite side from that Cog. All right, here Rienzo's going to take the Vest on a Braum. It would be nice if he could play Braum on this board, but, like, he kind of can't because there's no way he can get up to 4 Bastion unless he gets an emblem or something like that. But he can make another useful frontline item here. His frontline items are a little sketch. He still has 1-star Garen and 1-star Leona, so hopefully he can improve on that. But if he can find that, then he should be in better shape here. And otherwise, he's just rolling for more Caitlyns and more Jayces. And as I said, with lots and lots and lots of 3 costs out of the pool, he's got pretty good odds. He's got very good odds to hit the what has it got? Very good odds to hit the Caitlyn. Less good odds to hit the Jayce. He actually does find a Varus at 1% odds, but sells it. I think the rationale being it's going to take too long until he can get up to level 9. Now, I'm not sure. He would have to get up to level 8 to be able to play that unit. I'm not exactly sure why he rolled down to 30 gold here. He was winning the rounds. I'm not sure that he needed to go below 50 gold on his income there, but just chose to. I think maybe he was trying to hit the Leona 2, Yumi 2. I probably would have stopped going below 50 when I hit the Yumi 2, but, you know, that's always a decision to make. I think that he could have played this a little bit more patiently there, though. I don't think that there was quite the need to roll, because like, he's only on 6 Caitlyns, or 7 Caitlyn's, 6 Jayces. He's not exactly close to 3-starring either of them, so patience. Your board's pretty strong right now. I think you can just afford to take your time. You don't have to be quite that aggressive in rolling. Now, in addition to everything else, there is another property to Battle Academia trait, and this is something that almost never comes into play, but that is the prismatic version of the trait. Yeah, all of the big vertical traits in set 15 have some kind of prismatic version, and they have different conditions for unlocking them. In past sets, you just had to get, like, up to, I don't know, like, multiple emblems, get to Battle Academia 10, that would unlock the prismatic, but it was pretty silly because you could have those stupid trainer golems where you'd get an emblem on the trainer golem, and then your augment would give you another +1 to the trait, and then all of a sudden you're unlocking the prismatic version. Like, you didn't really do anything, you just kind of had it handed to you by the by like getting multiple emblems, and then you just insta-win the lobby even though you didn't really do anything. So in this set, the prismatic versions of the traits all have some kind of condition to unlock them, and they're very rare to always very rare to achieve, but if you do achieve them, they're typically like win the lobby type condition. For Battle Academia, the prismatic unlocks under these conditions. First, you must have Battle Academia 7 in, so that's the first thing. You gotta have Battle Academia 7 on your board. Second condition, you have to get lots of rounds with completed items. The game keeps track of how many completed items are on your Battle Academia units. Only completed items, not components. So right now, he has Gargoyle Stoneplate on Garen, that's 1. 3 items on Kate, that's 4. 3 items on Yumi, that's 7. 3 items on Jayce, that's 10. And then another one on Leona, so that's 11. Plus whatever he's going to make here. You get credit for having these items on your board every round that takes place. It keeps track of them. And if you get up to 160 of these, then it activates the Prismatic. So he just made a Steadfast Heart, and then looks like he's going to make a Protector's Vow. So that one of them was, let's see, now we have, that's 13 total items that I think, as he rolls and he hits the Kate. I said he would probably hit the Kate first because the Kate's uncontested. He might actually want to wait to see, because I think that Darius player is about to get knocked out. He might actually want to wait and not roll again until the Darius player gets knocked out, because that'll put those Jayces back into the pool. But anyway, in terms of items, as I said, that is, 13 items here. So every round, the game is keeping track of how many items he has, or completed items, not components, how many completed items he has on his Battle Academia units. He's getting credit for 13 of them every round, and he needs to get 160 of those points to activate the Prismatic version of the trait, which again, sends all the units to 10 potential and like gives them all a bonus effect. It's basically a win the lobby condition. So that means he's going to need roughly like 12 to 13 rounds to unlock this. It might take a little bit less time than that because he will get more items as the game goes on off like carousels and things like that. But by and large, you have to make the Battle Academia 7 and then again survive like another 12 to 15 rounds. This game is more conducive to him hitting that condition just because it was a high loot lobby. Again, he got the lucky treasure chest, which gave him a full item. And then he took the wand overflow, which gave him another like 2.5 items there. So he, in like a normal game that wasn't like a crazy high loot lobby, he'd probably have about 9 completed items, maybe 10, and instead he has 13. And that just makes a huge difference. If you were in a game where you had 9 completed items, it would take you about 17 to 18 rounds. Instead, it's going to be more like 12 rounds. I mean, that's a huge difference. That's like an entire stage faster that this will happen. So whenever you're in like a scuttle puddle lobby or like crazy loot drop lobby, this becomes a much, much more realistic possibility. And you can also make it more likely by taking an augment that gives you items. There's the little Easter egg coin drop there again. But the 3-star Kate definitely is doing a lot of work right now. Excuse me. And then it's just a matter of trying to hit the 3-star Jayce. But honestly, I would probably just start leveling to level 9 at this point. The Jayce is, well, he is on 7 Jayces. I don't know. I guess he's on 7 Jayces. And that Darius player did just get knocked out of the lobby, so those Jayces went back into the pool. I don't know that you need to roll below 50 gold here, though. I think, again, you can be more patient. I do not think it's worthwhile to hold extra Ezreals. That's not going to happen. Not going to hit Ez 3-star Garen 3-star at this stage, so they can probably be taken out. The Rakans, maybe it's probably worthwhile to hold Rakan. Another unit that's commonly played on this board is to put in Cassante on level up, because that'll put Protector Trait in, and Cassante's been like a really broken tank for this entire set. But Cassante is also, as usual, being played on a whole bunch of other boards. Like this person's running a 2-star Cassante. And Rienzo's been on a win streak so far. But this time he's up against the Cog 3-star. But whoops, what happens there? Yeah, Cog 3 dies in the first Kate ult. And just like that, he insta-wins the round. Of course, it is a ghost round. But yep, that's what can happen. I have had this happen to me in my games. If there's an enemy Kate over there and it lines up a shot and your carry just gets taken out instantly, you just lose the fight. So you always have to be trying to position against this comp if it's in the lobby, just because it is dangerous in that regard. But so far, so good. And Rienzo's been able to preserve a lot of health. He lost a little health in like the mid game, but he seems like he's back in very strong shape right now. And then he can look to just fill out his board with some 4 and 5 cost units for the remaining slots. Again, Varus is an obvious unit to try to grab because Varus will put Sniper Trait in for Caitlyn. I mean, Kate's already doing a lot of damage, but Sniper Trait will just make that better. The items on the Caitlyn are very, very good Caitlyn items. The Infinity Edge to let her damage crit, although he does have the Lotus, so technically it would crit anyway. There's another Jayce. All right, now he's on 8. Now you probably do just roll for it when you're 1 off to see if you can hit the Jayce. And oh, he hits the Varus. The Varus comes back, and there it is. There's the Jayce. So now we can look to play that unit. Again, I would dump the extra Garens. I don't think Garen 3-star is going to do that much. But he did put the Spirit Visage on the Garen. I would maybe consider swapping some of these items on the Garen and the Leona around. Leona has more like off-tank items, where Garen has like actual tank items. And you kind of want the opposite of that for the two of them, since Leona is a 4-cost tank and Garen is a 1-cost tank. All right, now once again, this board has a Karma in the back lines. Oh, what happens is Karma. And that bullet bounces around. I guess it didn't quite make it to the Karma, but it did take out most of the back line, and boom, second shot takes that out. The Swain is super tanky, but the Swain will still die regardless. 11,000 damage on Kate, 9,000 damage on Jayce. Yeah, this board's looking pretty strong, and that 8-match winning streak continues on to the next round. So Rienzo was not checking during the game how close he was getting to activating the Battle Academia Prismatic, but he is getting 14 stacks of that every round, and he still has a lot of health left, so he's in really good shape to try and finish that off. He also can, as I said, look to play that Varus on level up. The Varus came back. He actually hit the Varus twice at 1% odds, which is kind of wild, but he was able to hit that unit, and then he has to think about what other unit he might want to play. Again, as I said, Cassante is a natural unit that you would typically want to play on this board. He is trying to move his Kate around, so Kate is on the opposite side from Cog, but this time it's not a ghost round. This time it's up against the actual Cog 3 player. And note that this person did put their Cog in the middle of the board so that it's much less likely to get sniped by the Caitlyn. And the Zyra plant was also in the corner of the board, so again, good positioning there. And that's enough to make the difference. So there you see an effective defense against this board. The Cog in the middle of the board, a Zyra plant in the corner, so the Zyra plant tanks the shot. The Caitlyn bullet will bounce. It bounces based on how much potential you have. So for Battle Academia 7, I think it bounces 7 times. Is that right? It doesn't do a lot of damage on the bounce, but it still does some damage. But, you know, the biggest damage is just the initial shot. So you really want something to eat that shot that you don't care about. And that's what the Zyra plant in the corner did ultimately end up doing. There is another, another minion round here, so we'll be able to get another item. That'll put Rienzo up to 15 items. And look, he got another big loot drop there. Now, again, it's only items on Battle Academia units that count. Oh, and by the way, the reward was apparently a 2-star 5 cost. Everyone got a 2-star 5 cost. I would 100% play this Twisted Fate over the Varus. I would play TF 2-star over the Varus 1-star here, and then just play Varus on level 9, because you're clearly going to level 9. But I believe that Rienzo, I did watch part of this video before, I believe he ends up selling the 2-star TF, which is wild to me. I would 100% play that unit over playing the 1-star Varus. Granted, Varus does give sniper trait, but I mean, come on, it's a 2-star TF. I would definitely be playing that unit. No, don't sell the TF. Oh, he sold the TF. Yeah, I don't know that I agree with that decision. I know TF doesn't necessarily fit the board, but like he doesn't need to. He just will print econ for you and be a generically strong unit because he's a 2-star 5 cost. So I mean, yeah, Varus gives sniper trait, but like, come on, it's a 2-star TF. Just play the 2-star TF. Like the Varus did 1,000 damage in that fight. The Varus did nothing. He has no items. TF will at least print you some economy. And again, he's a 2-star 5 cost. Just play the 2-star 5 cost. So, all right. Anyway, one thing I would have done differently. But then again, Rienzo is in really, really comfortable shape here. He's looking great. By not playing that unit, he does get to level 9 a round faster. So there is that. But I'm not sure, honestly, I'm not sure that he really needs to go to level 9 that badly. I don't think that going to level 9 does that much for his board. He can look to play, as I said, like Cassante on this board is probably the other unit. Varus, Cassante are probably the 2 units you would most want to play. I mean, I guess you could play like a heavyweight for Jayce, but heavyweight 2 doesn't really do much of anything. So I think Cassante is probably a little bit better. Right now, it's a positioning battle. Rienzo's trying to position his Kate, so again, it's opposite side from the Cogmaw. But this player knows what's up. This player knows what they're doing, and they're keeping that Cog right in the center of the board. At least this way, the Caitlyn is not hitting the Zyra plant, though, so that's a plus. Is it enough to overcome this 3-star Cog? Again, 3-star Cog quite strong as well. Varus is getting its ult. All right, one more Kate ult. We'll do it. One more Kate ult. Oh, no. She got taken out just before she could fire that last shot off. All right, it looked like Rienzo was at 141 on his Battle Academia Prismatic stacks there. So that should be 2 more rounds. Yeah, 141 out of 160. He needs 2 more rounds because he's getting 15 points per round. I have a quick story while we're waiting here for this carousel and the next round to take place. It is down to a 1v1 in the lobby. I had a Battle Academia game during PvE where I was I ended up the game 1 stack off. I ended up losing the game. The final round of the game, I was at 159 out of 160. They've tweaked the number a couple different times in patches, but at that point in time, it was also the 160. I ended the game at 159 out of 160 to activate the Prismatic, and it was because I had put items on a Cassante for like 2 or 3 rounds before I realized I might have a realistic chance to hit the before I realized I had a realistic chance to hit the Prismatic and moved items over to like a Garen. So that was pretty frustrating. I could have had that happen. Anyway, if you're wondering why nothing happened that round, the player who was on low health quit the lobby. I think because they saw they weren't going to beat either of the 2 remaining boards. And both Rienzo and the remaining opponent, they both hit that player in a ghost round. So they both instantly won and the round ended. On the minion round, he actually ends up taking a Bastion emblem here. So That's kind of an interesting pull. He should grab the Shen there, and he can play 4 Bastion, and then just replace Shen with the Braum when Braum shows up. So if you're not going to play Cassante, that's probably the best you can do. Again, I would again have suggested running 2-star TF on this board instead. But the Udyr definitely does not make any sense to play on this board. I mean, granted, you get Mentor trait, but it's not. The 4 Bastion has to be better, and there's a Shen in the store. So I definitely would look to play that for the extra armor and MR, which might be helpful against the Cog. So a small thing there, but I assumed if you're going to take the Bastion emblem, the plan is to play Braum, and you might as well play the Shen in the meantime while you're waiting for Braum to show up here on level 9. This is the board against the Cog player again. It looks like that person's added a 2-star TF to their board, so the fight is actually less close than the previous one was because they've added a 2-star TF over there. And yeah, that board is stronger, but guess what? Battle Academia goes Prismatic right there. There's no visual indicator that that's the case, but Battle Academia does go Prismatic. Well, it's on the interface. There's no pop-up elsewhere. So now all of these units have 10 potential and an extra effect. Caitlyn's extra effect is fire an additional bullet. Yeah, fire an additional bullet. So instead of shooting 1 bullet, now she shoots 2 of them. Yeah, you could have just sold the extra Yuumi there. Again, I don't think you're going to hit 3-star Rakan, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, she fires an additional bullet each time on her auto. So she'll fire 2 bullets, and each one will bounce 10 times in these matchups. And every other unit gets an effect like that as well. Yumi's effect is she does way more true damage. Normally, I think it's every 5th page does true damage. Now it's every other page does true damage. Like every Battle Academia unit just gets like insane benefits from hitting them. You can see the last fight was tilted pretty heavily in the Cog player's favor, but now it's, oh my god. Yeah, it's not even remotely close, and that's that Prismatic activating there. So it does appear, and also Rienzo, you can wait to roll until after the minion round, buddy. You don't have to roll right here. You would have gotten a little bit of extra interest by waiting until after the minion round, so could have done that. Yeah, it says, what is it? Every 2 pages launch a magical page that does double the damage, and it's all true damage. Oh my god. So yes, if you unlock the Prismatic, it's pretty much an instant win the lobby unless someone has an equal win the lobby condition. Like they hit a 3-star 4 cost, or they have another one of the Prismatics, or I don't know, something insane that'll balance it out. Also, gotta buy that Braum. Come on, gotta buy the Braum. Come on. All right, whew. You don't really want that Rise on the board. I know he gives you Mentor trait, but there's better stuff that you can play here. There we go. All right, 4 Bastion, definitely better. I don't think it really makes a difference at this stage of the game, but it's better than nothing. And then here, I don't know what you really necessarily want here. I'm not sure that it really matters that badly. Gonna take the... okay. Ended up taking the Gunblade. Gonna put it on Yuumi. Gunblade is one of Yuumi's best items. Red buff goes on the... what's it called? On the Varus. He's pretty good at applying red buff. Could have potentially rolled and used that full champion duplicator on something. But again, doesn't really matter at this stage of the game because with the Prismatic trait activating, all of his units are going to do just crazy damage. You can see it is not even remotely close. I don't know if he had even 1 unit die in that fight. 17,000 damage Kate, 12,000 damage Jayce. That's going to wrap this one up for a very well played first place finish there. Rienzo was able to identify a line that was uncontested in the lobby, the reroll for 3-star Kate, 3-star Jayce, and really put the board together quite effectively there. And even though he would have gotten a 2nd place to the Cog board, like that still would have been a great result regardless. Like that wouldn't have been bad. But then the Prismatic activated and that was just GG. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks to Rienzo for sharing this footage. Until next time, take care, folks. I'll see you again soon.